Welcome to another brand new episode of the Atombic Cricket Podcast. I'm Chirulan Srinath, your host for this week. Joining me is Maitreya, my co-host. We'll still have to wait for the return of Vijay Kapali, sir. But Maitreya, how do you feel as we come to this final week of this year's IPL? The playoffs race is getting intense. GT sit atop with 18 points. They're already qualified for the playoffs. DC and SRH are eliminated from the race. And your view on who qualifies and what are the circumstances that need to happen for the favor of every team?
It's the last week of IPL, and I can't believe that still people are not sure who are going to be the top four. Because if you see any other year, we'll be already very quite sure. At least the top two will be quite sure. But this year, the situations are very intense. So if yesterday we have seen RCB winning their match with Kohli's brilliant knock. So if they win their next match, they get 18. So yes, 16 points. Sorry, so if they get 16 points, and then Mumbai also, if they win their two matches, they get 16 points. And then LSG and CSK have that advantage, that 1 point, because their match was abandoned due to rain. So they had that 1 point edge over the other teams. So if they get to win their next match, then they will have 17 points each. So this can be that extra edge over the other teams. But again, they have to win the next matches. And then GT is anyway ruling on the top. And then we have the other teams, Punjab and KKR. They're gone, because even if they win their next match, they'll only come to 14 points. So for them, this season is done. DCSRH, they're way out. So I guess this year you can still say Mumbai, RCB, CSK, LSG, they're all fighting for that the second, third, and fourth spot. So let's see who gets it.
Yeah, and let's talk about yesterday's game. It is fresh and brimming with memory. Virat Kohli makes his sixth century of the IPL and becomes joint most. He has the joint most IPL centuries with Chris Gale, and RCB win in a must-win game. Faf and Virat, they took over. It looked like we were winning by 10 wickets, but at the end, we lost two of them. But yesterday's match was very special for me, Maitreya. Let's not forget Hendrik Klassen's 100 as well. It is the first time in IPL history that we are seeing players from two different teams scoring centuries. And yeah, talk about Virat Kohli's innings yesterday and how destructive he was and how classy knock that was. And he just played a finisher role, their chase master.
Yeah, so yesterday Virat Kohli, it was really splendid performance. Right from the start, the target was big. It was 187 target, and many were saying, the commentators were saying it might be difficult chasing such a big target, but he just did it on his own. It started off, put the pressure on the bowlers. I've seen Bhuvi versus Gujarat. He took 5 wicket haul, but here he was just no use, because he was just thrashed. Even though only 8 runs, but the first two balls went for fours. The momentum he built right from the beginning, that was really splendid. And he kept carrying on. Duplessis took time, Faf took time for settling in. He hit some few boundaries, but he took more dot balls, I guess, and more singles. But Kohli went with that aggressive passion, that boundaries, sixes. And each time when you thought a wicket might fall, Faf was frequently, getting out, missed chances, missed catches, then that bouncer no ball thing. So Faf was on the other end, trying to hit big, but getting out and still being saved. But here Virat Kohli playing so clean, playing with full placement, timing, and awesome. It was, the people of Hyderabad enjoyed. When they were showing the stands, you can see them. They were wearing SRH jersey, and they put on RCB jersey. They're shouting Virat Kohli's name. That shows what love they have for this man, and how he has done such a great thing. Sixth century, is such a great thing, and he has already hit 7,000 plus runs for RCB.
Right, I
So
can't hear
another
you
achievement.
anymore, but let's move on. Much before King Kohli's 100 on 15th of May, we had the Prince do it, the upcoming star, the future of Indian cricket, Shubman Gill, make his maiden IPL 100. Now, remember, he was 94 or 95 not out in some of his previous match, and then when I asked about 100, he said 5 games are left and I can hit an 100 in any one of them. Look at his confidence, Maitreya. I mean, look at ourselves. We promise, we make some false promises, and here is guy who's promising for 100 and delivering it really. Talk about Shubman Gill, his commitment, and how this year has been good for him in international cricket as well as IPL.
Yeah, actually, Gill's performance is actually a good sign for India because India needs a very good opening partnership for the World Cup. And in the coming few games, I know the IPL has done well. If he continues that performance in the Asia Cup and then the next few ODI series, then I'm very sure that India will have a good performance. The opening itself, like Rohit Sharma is there, KL Rahul is injured, Shikhar Dhawan is doubtful. So I feel Gill will have to keep making more performances to cement his position. So in this way, it's good for us.
Yeah, moving on. Let's talk about Yashasvi Jaiswal and Sanju Samson. Man, Jaiswal was almost very near to his second century of this year's IPL edition. But Sanju Samson, he blocks a wide delivery and signals Jaiswal to hit a six. It didn't happen unfortunately, but it had some familiarity. MSD blocking for Virat to finish in a T20 World Cup game, and then Virat Kohli blocking for Chris Gale to hit a century. Now, for me, this is the best moment of this year's IPL, or you can say one of the best moments of cricket as well.
Yeah, so Samson doing that for Jaiswal was really great because everyone wants to hit the winning runs, everyone wants to be the finisher, but Samson here he played like a good captain role, a good sportsman role. When the other guy he's in 90s, he needs a six to get to 100. You surely want to give him the strike and blocking a white ball to do that. That was really so great of him. And Jaiswal himself, a very youngster, down to earth. He has just started, and he played under 19. He was splendid. Again, a few average performances in the last few seasons, but this season again, awesome performance and backed by Sanju Samson. So I guess this partnership is great, and he can be a splendid player for Royals as well as for India.
Yeah, look at his wonderful story from selling pani puri to coming here and scoring. And I'm very sure that he'll make it to the big stage for India. We're looking for openers. Rohit Sharma is getting older, so we need someone there atop. Let's talk about the bowlers, Maitreya. Mohsin Khan, he's done well in the last year's IPL. This year he didn't get many opportunities, but he defended 11 runs in the final over. It looked like Mumbai Indians game. But he defended against red hot Tim David and capable Cameron Green. He was nailing Yorkers, and yesterday's match also Siraj, letting only 4 runs in the final over. We are seeing Tikshana's death bowling abilities as well, all Yorkers and things like that. This year's death bowling is very good, and seeing youngsters do it is even more exciting and actually very good. Talk about death bowling and these bowlers who are doing well.
Yeah, so I feel this year death bowling is one of the main criteria, for matches to go so close, and it can be anything till the end. So if you see previous seasons, when like as of what I remember, I feel Bravo used to bowl really well in the death overs, but not many from every team. We didn't have any bowler who could do that. But now, if you see Rajasthan had Sandeep Sharma, he defended against Dhoni and got it very close, and then now we have Mohsin Khan, we have Tikshana. So this just shows that the team management has found that just not batting or power play bowling, but even death bowling is somewhere we have to invest some time into the players to make sure we have quality bowlers to play in those overs, because those are game changing ones from 16 to 20. Those 4 overs, the batsman hit the most runs. Apart from the power play, those middle overs are kind of dry. So the players, team management investing in these bowlers, making them practice well with good infrastructure, good coaches. I feel this is where players need to be backed, because you get the game to be more interesting, and it can be like defining and changing for those 2 points matter. See, if Mumbai would have got those 2 points, they would have been somewhere in the points table. They would have already qualified off, or they would be on the verge of qualifying. So I feel these two, like, I mean, death bowling is one of the like main players, because finishers, they just need brute strength. You just bowl a slot delivery, they can hit you for six, like Tim David and all hefty guys. But these bowlers, they need to find the perfect Yorkers, and with practice and with good coaching skills of the coaches, I feel it's a good thing that they have come up with such good bowlers, and that too they're Indian. India can use them anytime.
Yeah, and we had our experienced Bhuvaneshwar Kumar swinging the ball in and out. You know, he had a second slip as well in a T20 game. How often do you see, someone having a second slip in T20 game? This match was against Gujarat Titans, where he got a five-wicket haul, and Bhuvaneshwar just, whatever he did, he did it at the right time because the fan in me was about to, die. And how amazing was his five-wicket haul?
Yeah, well, it was so great, because we have been following cricket for like some 10 years at least, and Bhuvneshwar Kumar was on the rise 10 years back. And about 5 years back, I felt maybe he has gone, because fast bowlers in India, especially with that kind of talent, they need to be injury free, any fast bowler. So if you see Jimmy Anderson is like one kind of guy who is been injury free through most of his career and is still being playing. He's 38, 39 years. But Bhuvneshwar Kumar has often got injured. Many times I've seen him on the field getting injured and going away, staying away from the game 1 2 years. So I never thought he could make such a good comeback. And T20 is a very competitive game where the batsmen are looking to hit the bowlers every ball. And in such a game, you get such so much swing, and you put a second slip with that kind of confidence, you can bowl even after so many days of not so good days for him the last few years. But with such a kind of confidence he's bowling, I feel it's very great. I feel really happy to see him back like that, taking a 5 wicket haul there too in a T20 game. When everyone looks to hit you, a 5 wicket haul is such a great thing. And the swing, he swung in, he swung out. That shows his expertise, in this kind of field. Power play bowling, death bowling also he did very well.
Yeah, and Rashid Khan, the champ, the young warrior, how sensational was his all-round show in Mumbai Indians versus GT? How amazing was his 79 not out from 32 balls? And in the same match, in the first innings, he took four wickets. Talking about Rashid Khan, he was left out. He was left out of SRH 2 years ago, and now he's doing so well. He's a T20 player of the decade as well. So he's proving himself, and he's so young, and he's already achieved so much in the format. Cricket all around the globe. He goes some plays leagues, and he's doing very well. With the ball, he has been doing every time well, and now even with the bat. So talk about Rashid Khan.
Yeah, well, Rashid Khan is, one kind of a player. See, he came from Afghanistan, and as per my knowledge, Afghanistan is not such a great team as part of cricket when it comes to cricket, because there it's a war-torn country, and there are many national issues at stake, and cricket is not given much funding there. But when Rashid Khan, with the IPL taking this Afghanistan players, Rashid Khan, I feel, has improved over a time only due to these international leagues in which he's playing. So that's where he we got to know him, and he got to play in such world conditions, where he has become a more better person as a bowler. And now we have seen as a batsman, that was really unexpected, because maybe I've seen him come once in a while, maybe we hit 2 3 sixes, but I never saw him hit 79, man. That's too much, because even batsmen nowadays are not able to hit, and he is hitting 79. That is really really awesome. So I feel he coming to these international leagues, IPL, even though SRH might have left him, but that's where he started, to form himself to today who he is. He must thank SRH, because that day they picked him, that's why he's here today, even though they left him at the end. But those few years which he got, they were quality years. He has played with the top class cricketers, and he has learned so much there, and he was quite young that time, and they invested in him. So I guess the trust they had that day has proven to be a very good thing, and now he's a really great bowler in all the leagues, even for Afghanistan team.
Yeah, let's talk about your favorite team, CSK. When they played their last home game, there was some honor, kind of MSD and his team. For me, I thought it looked like MSD's last IPL season before CSK CEO makes a statement that hopefully Dhoni will play next year as well. What do you think? Is Dhoni playing next year?
Well, we don't know what Dhoni does because who expected, when I was seeing the 2019 World Cup semifinals, I never expected that would be Dhoni's last match. Like, when I pictured Dhoni's farewell, like Sachin's farewell, it was awesome thing. That day was meant for him, that match was meant for him. But I always expected something like that for Dhoni, one awesome farewell where everything will be a tribute to him, a guard of honor. Well, this man doesn't want all that paparazzi and all that stuff. He just want to silently walk away from the game. So I don't know if he's going to play next year because he can anytime change his decision whenever he wants. But see, Vishwanath, he was CEO of CSK. He said that Dhoni will be with CSK next year, but he didn't mention whether he'll be playing with them like as a player. So he could be a mentor, he could be a coach. So everything has a like deeper meaning, every statement from CSK or Dhoni about Dhoni.
Oh,
So
that's a
we
great
don't know.
interpretation.
Yeah, so like
Yeah,
I was
go
also
on, go on.
shocked because I was thinking Dhoni is injured right now. He's already having a knee injury. And to keep fitness at this age, 40, 41, he'll be 42. And then playing will be very tough. So I thought he might take a break from the game after all this, all that he has given 15 or 20 years or over, I guess. So I was thinking maybe he'll become a coach or mentor, but I don't know. If he plays well, I'll be very happy for that.
Yeah, Dhoni can provide to the team even if he's a mentor or a coach or anything else. Yeah, so we were supposed to end our episode, but looking at the time, it's very short. Yeah, let's talk about some things that we remember. Now, talking about RCB, my favorite team, we outplayed Rajasthan Royals 59 all out. Now, who expected that Parnell comes and takes wickets? And it didn't look like those were wicket-taking deliveries. It looked like Rajasthan Royals just threw their wickets away, and we won. And that gave us a really net run rate boost, and we still are alive to make to the playoffs. We won the next match as well. That was yesterday against SRH. We need to win another against GT, and if CSK and LSG lose their matches, we can make it to the top two. Talk about RCB and RR match if you remember anything.
Yeah, well, you can say RR is like at the beginning of the IPL, when I looked at RR, I was very sure RR is going to be in the top two along with GT. But later on, when the later stage, they have had very tough losses, especially that loss, remember, against SRH. They had finished bowling the over, and then they said it was a no ball. You should have seen the shock on their faces. And then they were the
Oh, we
Abdul
didn't talk
Samad
about
hit a
that. We didn't talk
six.
about that.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
go on, go
I
on.
was yeah, I was really shocked, because Sandeep Sharma had defended against Dhoni. He had done that against SRH that day. He was content, everything was done. And then a no ball sign comes, everyone was shocked there in the stadium. The mixed reaction, SRH fans happy, RR fans, just unbelievable it was. And then the next ball, I thought maybe Sandeep Sharma will have something, he control. Well, he couldn't. Abdul Samad oversmarted him. And then, such a tough loss. They had lost many, many points like that, very close matches. And so I felt that kind of a spark in them went away when they played against RCB. And RCB was like with full intention, to go to the playoffs. They were very much wanting to go to the playoffs. They needed the win, and they played with full heart. And I feel RR's approach was half-hearted after their tough losses.
Yeah, and talking about the playoffs, who all can qualify for playoffs? We started the show by that. But you see, DC and SRH are already eliminated, and we have Punjab Kings at eighth position, and they still have a chance to qualify. Looking at this year's IPL, it's very competitive. Okay, we'll talk about something else. We have already talked about this. Talk about Naveen-ul-haq. I mean, how is enjoying Virat Kohli's 100? The previous time when Virat became out, he put on an Instagram story saying mangoes, mangoes. Now, is he getting mangoes?
Well, Naveen-ul-haq, I feel he shouldn't, do all this because Virat Kohli is a world class player, and Virat Kohli is someone with such a stature. He has achieved so much in his life already. He has hit so many centuries, hit so many runs. Even not only for RCB, he has hit for India. He's hit for RCB. He has played through many leagues. He has played through many countries. With such a person, Naveen-ul-haq, who has just started his career, who has achieved nothing. You can see he has plugged nothing basically, and he's coming and talking about Virat Kohli like this, it's not professional, and I feel he shouldn't do that because nothing great happened.
This will bring you to the end of today's episode. Thank you for listening to Hadambe Cricket Podcast. We thought we'd try something new and we did it. Thank you.